Very good evening and welcome to Primetime News on TV1. Of course, we're coming to you live and direct from the Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. We've got the latest of news lined up for you from here at home and across the globe. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Charlotte Benedict.
And I'm Zeenat Musafa. Let's take a look at today's headlines.
Farmers in many areas affected by low prices for produce. Farming, fisheries and education sectors taken up for debate in Parliament. Cabinet approval to secure the services of a foreign institution to conduct a forensic audit on the central bank. Carbon dating reveals remains at Mannar mass grave are 350 to 600 years old. 2 firearms found at the residence of Vedikande Kasun.
In local news, today's Parliament debate over the budget proposals for 2019 primarily focused on the fisheries industry and education sector.
The farming community expected an increasing paddy prices through the 2019 budget. I must clearly state that the fishermen community is not happy with the 2019 budget. However, I welcome the government's proposal to allocate funds for freezers. This budget states that there are 1.4 million Samundri beneficiaries and it proposes to further increase the number of beneficiaries by 600,000. This means the poverty in Sri Lanka has increased since 1994. There is no country in the world that provides relief of this nature to reduce poverty. The poor must be supported through other means. In
terms of purchasing paddy warehouses have currently been opened in Anuradhapura and Polonnaruwa, and paddy is being purchased at their own prices. Because of the GSP Plus, fisheries exports to the EU have increased by 14%. The budget 2019 also proposes the provision of scholarships to international universities such as Oxford and Cambridge.
Oxford, Cambridge, Harvard,
We welcome this proposal and do not oppose it. However, any university has a process in place when granting admission. Regardless of the students becoming first, second or third island-wide, they must follow the respective university's admission process. These international universities have specific examinations. However, when implementing these proposals, if the students other than those who obtain the highest marks are given scholarships, then there is an issue.
In my view, this idea is very important. I am not saying that this proposal has been approved for those who obtain high marks will be accepted by the University of Oxford. However, there will be students who are eligible for such an opportunity.
Students follow the local A-level syllabus in Sinhala medium. The government claims that A-level high rankers will receive scholarship. However, there are many more examinations that they must face in order to be accepted by such universities.
Even though local students study A-levels in Sinhala medium, they are accepted by British educational institutes. If a high-ranked student is accepted by the University of Oxford or Cambridge, the Sri Lankan government will support them. A non-interest loan of 1 million rupees will be given to students who fail to obtain admission to local universities so they can obtain a degree from a private university.
The budget has allocated Rs 300 million per electorate and your ministry has been allocated with Rs 460 million.
Do not worry about this. Minister Mangala Samaraveera has allocated funds worth millions of rupees to construct the Kandy Expressway.
Now, a press briefing was convened at the Ministry of Finance this evening.
From cradle to grave, the people of this country expect to receive everything free of charge. We provide everything free of charge as well. We provide free education, free health service, a free of charge university system, and even some of the benefits. As a country, we provide everything. The carbon tax is only a small charge. Every time a new tax is introduced, they say we are charging tax on tax. There is a tax charged when we purchase cigarettes, sugar and dal. My main target is to reduce the taxes on such products. I agree the salaries of ministers and MPs are paid through tax revenue. However, when we consider the total expense, it is only a small percentage. Such claims are made by those who speak of the economy but fail to settle bank loans.
These are the views expressed on the budget by the members of the opposition.
The
Ranil Wickremesinghe government always talked about the plans for the years ahead, not about the plans for the current year. Their government has brought this country and the economy to a very volatile position. If the people had a dream of buying a car, this budget shattered all their dreams. There is a proposal to give 10 million rupees to every married couple, but not 1 rupee has been allocated for this. The estate workers demanded that their wages be increased, but nothing has been allocated for that. People over the age of 70 were given an allowance of 2,000 rupees during Mahinda Rajapaksa's time, but that is no longer continued. Certain backbench MPs reiterated that they will defeat the president's expenditure head. They were the same group that said that they wouldn't go forward without sacking Ranil Wickremesinghe. They also said that they will defeat a number of ministries. Now they are silent. Minister Mangala Samaravira has opened his dream shop. Although there are many dreams, there is very little room for it to become a reality. This was the reason for the fiasco that happened on the 26th of October. They say that if the 52-day conspiracy did not happen, we would have achieved an exceptional economic growth. And as usual, they talk about the natural disasters. So the real economic problem in Sri Lanka is based on these minor things.
Now, 24 hours before the budget was presented to Parliament, TNA MP M.A. Sumanthiran criticised the 2019 budget. However, 24 hours after the budget was presented to Parliament, his rhetoric has changed drastically.
Speaking to Lanka Deepa earlier, he said that the budget has transformed into a game where the income is inflated and expenses are portrayed to be less than what they really are. The MP said that this game has been going on for some time now and added that actual figures are not being revealed to the country or the general public. Sumanthiran concludes that based on the difference between reported data and the reality, he believes that the economic crisis Sri Lanka is facing is far worse than expected. TNA MP M.A. Sumanthiran's stance on the budget has watered down a mere 48 hours after his initial newspaper interview.
Our general reaction to the budget is positive, in that we think this is a responsible budget given the constraints, the economic constraints that the government and the country is facing at present. We are thankful that a special fund called the Palmyra Fund has been established. This is something that we have been asking for a long time, and that war-affected areas in the north and east, unfortunately, we haven't had much cooperation. Yesterday we had a meeting, and I must say the attitude has changed. After we went public, the attitude has changed, and now they seem to be cooperating a little. The minister gives it in economic format, whilst the budget estimates are in an accounting format, and you can't compare the two easily. And eventually, what is adopted is something totally different. And fourth, what is implemented invariably has nothing to do with either the budget estimates or what the Minister of Finance presents as budget proposals or the finalized figures, but it is something totally different. Actual money that is available for all of those fine proposals that you present is minimal. You don't even have half that money to actually implement. Our fear is that in implementation we won't even reach 20%. So we have several measures that the minister announced for which there is no provision in the Appropriation Act or even in the budget estimates. Now where is the money going to come from for those expenditures? It's going to come out of this discretionary budgetary provision that you're putting in. So that has to change to come and tell us what the implication of that proposal is. There is no rupees and cents given to several of the proposals that were made in the budget speech.
We are waiting to see the decision of the TNA, to see if the TNA is voting in favor of the government and why. What are their hidden motives? Because this budget proposal has nothing for the people of the north, During his tenure as the leader of the opposition, he spoke for the people of the north. Centered around that voter base, we are waiting to see how the TNA will use their vote. The Prime Minister is saying various things. At one time he provided chewing gum. At one time he gave away bracelets. Now he has even started to give out underwear. Maybe he was joking when he made those remarks. I was considering that too. If I am getting 10 million rupees, even I would consider getting married.
In other local news, many farmers across the nation have faced great difficulty due to not receiving a proper buying price for the Mahakana paddy harvest. Farmers protested yesterday demanding a proper price for paddy.
The Cabinet Committee recently decided to impose a controlled price of 38 rupees for a kilogram of nadu and 41 rupees for a kilogram of samba. These prices are allocated considering the farmer's operational cost and the consumer's controlled selling price. We have opened all the paddy stores that we administer. As the Paddy Marketing Board, we purchase stocks of paddy. Even though farmers have already begun harvesting, selling their harvest has become a dream. The farmers claim that the government is capable of purchasing paddy at a higher price compared to the market price of rice. The harvesting is ongoing. What will be your next move? Will you sell to the government, stock them up, or sell to another vendor? We can't sell to outside vendors. They never offer us reasonable prices. So we request the government for a standard price. We simply want 55 rupees for samba and 50 rupees for nadu. This is the government paddy storage facility in Palvahara, Dambulla. Even though it was opened, farmers did not give their paddy. We sold a nadu kilo for 45 rupees and a samba kilo for 50 rupees in 2014 and 15. The buying prices now are significantly reduced. Selling to outside vendors is more profitable with this situation. The storage facilities will be opened, but the farmers will sell to the outside market. Meanwhile, farmers in Polonnaruwa continue to face a similar situation. Soon harvesting will begin in this area as well, but the farmers in Girithale and Polonnaruwa have faced a difficult situation. Farmers in the area said that given the present situation, the buying price of paddy will further reduce. We will be harvesting 1 acre. Around 220,000 rupees will be the cost for that process. The seeds will cost around 3,200 rupees. The labor cost will be 4,000 rupees. When the other costs are considered as well, we are at a loss. What do we have when all these costs are deducted? They conduct meetings in the comfort of their offices. Another group is planning to take advantage of our efforts. I challenge the Prime Minister or anyone to come stand under the sun for 10 minutes and experience the struggle we go through. They failed to allocate a single rupee for the benefit of the farmers, but they managed to allocate money for the stray dogs on the street. The Agricultural Department expects a stock of 4 metric tons, but the government purchases 2 kilograms from a farmer. What is the fate of the Ampara farmers in such a situation? The minister said he will present a price formula for this. What mill owners do is they purchase paddy for low prices, stock them up and sell it for high prices when there's a high demand. Farmers in Putlam have also begun harvesting. Farmers claim that they don't receive a fair price compared to the cost that they allocate for farming. The stock should be taken to Tabova, and most of the time we have to bring them back. We have to waste days for this because we don't have sufficient space to store this. This price issue has seriously damaged us. Most of our profits are spent on transport. Our reporters spoke to the vendors who arrived to purchase paddy from the area. We purchase paddy for 30 rupees and sell it to the mills at 32. Moisture content is measured. If the moisture content is 17, we can sell for 32. Honestly, we don't have much profits. Even the farmers don't have profits. Only the mill owners have high profits.
The National Action Plan for the Prevention of Bribery and Corruption will be released on the 18th of March this year. Director General of the Bribery Commission, President's Counsel Sarath Jayamana convened a media briefing today to reveal further information on the matter.
We have already received cabinet approval to amend other laws. We are currently in the process of amending acts such as the Bribery Act, the Commissions of Inquiry Act and the Declaration of Assets and Liability Act. We did not remain silent during the past year. For the first time in history, we prepared a handbook that includes regulations on awarding and receiving gifts. We have no rules or best practices to minimize conflict of interest. The Election Commissioner has prepared a draft document including proposals to guide the manner in which funds should be allocated for election propaganda activities. Many assets from our country have been taken overseas. Bringing such assets back to Sri Lanka is not an easy task. A recovery of assets law must be in place for this. At present, this law is being formulated and a special presidential task force has been appointed in this regard. However, the members of this committee receive very low salaries and benefits. After all of our efforts, there are few individuals who raise questions on a media platform as to why legal action is yet to be taken in this regard. We request that we be provided with sufficient resources. The cost for the group of 27 individuals is not that high. You are asking me a tough question that might put me in trouble. We are currently functioning in a very observant manner. However, we cannot disclose further information in this regard. The police has the power to disclose information. However, due to the Bribery Commission's confidentiality clause, we cannot disclose information. What was revealed today was not made public for a period of 1 year. So wait and see until next year.
Minister Partali Champaka Ranawaka expressed the following views at a function held under his patronage to declare open the Danture Weekly Fair and multipurpose building which is being implemented under the Megapolis project.
In the past, with the development that took place, one rogue was created for each village. This development does not create any rogues. There is a trend in the country that if a person makes some revelation regarding some form of corruption, the person who makes the allegation is labelled as a corrupt individual. The people have the responsibility to ensure that corrupt individuals are not sent to Parliament. A number of people who incurred losses to the country are now enjoying benefits and they have become very powerful. They are enjoying these benefits because the people did not cast their vote for the right person.
In another one of your headline-making stories tonight, the Cabinet has given the green light to obtain the services of internationally experienced institutions for forensic auditing activities of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka.
The Cabinet of Ministers approved the proposal to award this contract to MS BDO India, LLP India and MS KPMG Sri Lanka upon the recommendation of Advisory Procurement Committee of the Cabinet. Previously too, the Cabinet of Ministers' approval was granted for proposals to obtain the services of internationally experienced institutions for forensic auditing activities of the Central Bank. Moreover, the Cabinet of Ministers approved the implementation of the proposals to improve operations of the Mattala Rajapaksa International Airport. Cabinet approved the proposal presented to carry out necessary activities in accordance with the report presented by the Negotiation Committee and Project Committee.
The saga of MTD Walkers PLC continues. Here's the latest.
Following the intense concern that MTD Walkers PLC was heading into a nosedive, several developments have taken place. This includes the settling of a $19 million facility from Exim Bank, Malaysia. This settlement was done directly by MTD Berhad. However, the exposure to the local banks by MTD Walkers Sri Lanka has not been resolved and a number of local banks have sought court action. The latest attempts to save the company came in the form of an offer from companies connected to Supreme Sat, who nominated 2 directors to the board of MTD Walkers PLC. After several weeks of waiting, that offer seems to have fallen apart, as we notice that those 2 directors have stepped out and 2 new independent directors have joined the board from a company associated with Korean SPA. In the meantime, the People's Bank's original remit was to develop the cooperative movement, rural banking and provide financial support to the agricultural sector. The focus was very much on the agricultural sector. Although several movements indicate that MTD workers are on the threshold of resolving their issues, the fact remains that the People's Bank continued to extend facilities to the MTD workers group in spite of the fact that Jehan Amaratunga enjoyed cross-directorships in the two entities. The People's Bank have been at great pains to justify the massive lending, with its then chairman Hemasiri Fernando issuing a press release justifying their action. The central bank supported the People's Bank by stating regulations have been met. However, the monies of the people are at stake with no resolution in sight. In the matter of the perpetual treasuries and the then governor of the central bank, Sri Lanka's Presidential Commission of Inquiry held that the governor was responsible for that scam on the basis of a conflict of interest. The People's Bank extended facilities to MTD Workers PLC, although the potential for a clear conflict of interest existed, where Mr. Amaratunga was a director in both entities, playing a clear role at MTD Workers PLC as the Deputy Executive Chairman. How many other facilities have been granted by the People's Bank, merely relying on assurances of Mr. Amaratunga with the endorsement of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka at the expense of the people? The People's Bank was not set up to fund government infrastructure projects. The very act creating the People's Bank states that it was set up to help the people of the country for the agricultural sector and cooperative movement. The people are watching.
The carbon dating report prepared by US-based Beta Analytic Radiocarbon Dating Services has revealed the samples obtained from the Mannar mass grave belonged to people who had died 350 to 600 years ago. 5 bone fragments and a tooth recovered from the Mannar mass grave was sent to Beta Analytic for a carbon-14 test on the remains.
The report prepared by US-based Beta Analytic was earlier handed over to Mannar Magistrate T. Sarvanaraja. Today Newsfirst sought the expertise of Colombo Specialist Judicial Medical Officer Dr. Rahul Haq to understand the contents of the report. According to the report, the sample from the Mannar grave fall within the calendar range years between 1400 and 1650 AD. So far, 335 individual skeletal remains have been identified, out of which 318 skeletons have been removed from the Mannar mass grave site. Carbon dating is a method to determine the age of an object containing organic material by using the properties of radiocarbon, a radioactive isotope of carbon. Excavations at the mass grave in Mannar began when the site was first discovered during the initial phase of the construction of a Sathosa building in the area.
An event was organized by the partners of KPMG under the title Salient Features of the 2019 Budget.
One of the serious problems we have is that many deserving young people do not enter university because of the lack of space. In fact, as you all know, every year nearly 300,000 young people would sit for their advanced level, but finally only 30,000 will find a place in the universities local. And that is why we want to extend a helping hand, and we have introduced what is called Mage Anagata loan scheme, where we will extend rupees 1.1 million to any students who want to continue their study in the private campuses, private colleges in Sri Lanka. There's a grace period of 5 years and also 15 years after they start working to repay the loan.
The second area in which the budget attempts to solve this problem is through loans for entrepreneurship. So we've had 3 negative shocks on our rural economy. On one hand, we've had the end of the war and the reduction of fund transfers that are going into the rural sector through the military. Secondly, we had the government increase taxes and suck out money from the economy into government coffers, and that's excess consumption that came out of the system into government spending. And thirdly, we had floods and droughts that significantly reduced agriculture output and harvest in the rural economy. So there were 3 distinct events that sucked out the spending ability in the rural sector and in the economy in general. And what this kind of loan scheme can do is not actually what it's billed to do, but put back the oxygen of cash into the rural economy, get people spending, and create a Keynesian stimulus effect if it is managed without too much fiscal outreach, fiscal kind of consequences for the economy.
Central banking law that we have already announced, the inflation targeting regime, then we have already drafted the law and that will be going to the cabinet soon. The central bank law will be revised and incorporated to facilitate inflation targeting and also bring in macroprudential authority or measures into the law, so that will strengthen the independence of the central bank and as well as accountability, and our targets and objectives will also be much more focused.
The Global Sri Lankan Forum convened a media briefing in Colombo today.
At a loss for words as to why we did this again, at a time when the President himself had said that we should be concentrating on healing our wounds, we have now again done something that will reopen the wounds. In the circumstances as to why we should have co-sponsored this resolution, which I'm certain would not have met with the approval of our traditional supporters at the Human Rights Council. They would have felt let down by the way Sri Lanka has continued to do what it is doing. And I'm sure within the country itself, people are now scratching their heads as to why this was done, particularly since the President had publicly taken a stance which was definitely not consistent with co-sponsoring the resolution. Now we have challenged the credibility of the President, challenged his authority, and in a country like Sri Lanka or any other country, I do not think that's a good way to do business.
The 175th model village under the Samata 7 housing project was vested with the public in the Galhitiava area in Panduwasnuwara, Kurunangala today under the patronage of Minister of Housing, Construction and Cultural Affairs and the Deputy Leader of the UMP, Sajith Premadasa.
This village has been named Srinivasa Mahimigama and consists of 56 housing units along with entry routes, access to clean drinking water and other infrastructure facilities. The distribution of land ownership deeds and spectacles was carried out in line with the event. Housing loans were also presented at the event. Should a group of individuals who think they own this country be elected as leaders, or those who think of their motherland first and act as temporary guardians who will develop the country with the purest of intentions, be elected to take this country forward? It is the people who must make this decision.
The 140th Battle of the Blues cricket encounter between Royal College and St. Thomas's College, Mount Lavinia for the prestigious Right Honourable D.S. Senanayake Memorial Shield got underway at the SSC today. Batting first, Royal were bowled out for 158. At stumps of day 1, St. Thomas's were 158 runs for the loss of 6 wickets. Thereby, both sides have scored over 300 runs on the first day of the big match.
Kavindu Madarasinghe leads the boys from Breed Avenue and Sitara Hapuhinna leads the school by the sea. Royal College won the toss and elected to bat first, with Sri Lanka under-19 cap Kamil Mishara and Ishwara Disanayake opening the innings. Kamil Mishara was dismissed for 36. Kavindu Patirana scored 35 and Kaushan Kulasurya added 28. For the Thomians, Sri Lanka under-19 cap Kalana Pereira had a field day, bagging 6 for 54 in 14 overs. Owen Fernando picked 4 for 27 in 15.3 overs. Skipper Sitara Hapuhinna and Charlene Dimel opened the innings for St. Thomas's. Hapuhinna was dismissed for 14 and Dimel for 21. Scoring a half-century, Ryan Fernando was dismissed for 60. Johan Pereira missed out on a valuable half-century as he was caught at 49. All-rounder Kamil Mishara took 3 for 32 in 12 overs and Gihan Balasuriya took 2 for 32 in 11 overs. Tomorrow is the second day of the match.
And that's a wrap of Primetime News on TV1 for today. To follow details of these stories and more, of course, you can log on to our award-winning website, www.newsfirst.lk. I'm Charlene Benedict for the Newsfirst team.
And I'm Zeenat Musafa. Thank you for watching Newsfirst. Good night.